Hello, I'm Tommy.
I'm Nick.
And we're back with round 3 of the Summer Movie Smackdown, where we have 8 more movies going up against each other until we can find the movie of the summer.
So first up is Fish Tank versus The Paperboy.
Fish Tank is from 2009 and is directed by Andrea Arnold. It follows a young girl by the age of 15 named Mia, and she lives in Essex, where we follow her and her family, and she has dreams of being a dancer, and all of that kind of changes when a man comes into her life, played by Michael Fassbender, who is her mother's boyfriend. And so she is infatuated by him, and it has a significant impact on her life moving forward.
I liked this overall. I really love Andrea Arnold's previous film, American Honey, as do you.
Sure, yes.
I think that's like perfect.
Yeah, 5-star film.
Yeah. This doesn't quite hit the highs that does for me personally, but I think it's another example of her ability to give depth and heart to certain subsections of certain communities that are sort of easy to write off.
And undervalued in just cinema in general. Yeah, I love a lot of Andrea Arnold's work. I haven't seen everything, but I've seen some of her short films, this, and American Honey. She has a very stylistic way of going about her movies. I really love how she includes the soundtrack in each movie. Each movie's soundtrack is phenomenal.
Yeah, it fits the time very well because one of the early scenes, she comes across this group of girls dancing, and they're dancing to Me and You by Cassie.
Every song that she picks, well, I don't know if she picks this, but whoever she works with, whoever picks these songs, it's very to the T of the times, and it's just perfect.
Her ability as a filmmaker really shines here because I think this story in and of itself can be a little formulaic, but she guides it really well just by knowing how to make a movie.
Yeah, she weaves everything in perfectly. The introduction of Michael Fassbender is weaved in very well with her wanting to be a dancer and just the family's life in general.
The family aspect was one of my favorites because it's clear that they have difficulty sort of expressing themselves to each other.
Yeah.
And they're always at ends until the very end, which I thought was a very subtle and powerful way of it's 3 women in the family.
Yeah.
Of how they come together by dancing.
Yeah, and the mom is kind of hard-headed and she cusses a lot and yells at her children a lot, and so the kids kind of act that way towards her as well, so it's this interesting dynamic.
I also liked that the movie wasn't afraid to go in a direction that was unexpected, and it gets really tense, and the lead character is so unpredictable, not in a bad way, but just because she's a teenager and she's being manipulated by this older man, and so you don't really know how her headspace is, and her family. So it goes in a direction where you're really worried for her and other people around her. In a way that I think that's where it's sort of freshness of Andrea Arnold comes into the story that could be played very sort of generically.
Yeah, and the casting of Mia is really good because it's this unknown actress who they just found on the street somewhere.
And also Michael Fassbender, because he's naturally just very charismatic. And you can see why she's sort of drawn to him. And it's sort of clear the manipulation that he's going through. He's putting on her.
I like how a lot of this movie was shot. There's this one scene where it's Mia and Michael Fassbender, I forget his character name, but they're at this lake or river and they're fishing. And just the way it was shot, it was really gorgeous, and he gives her a piggyback ride, and it was just weirdly beautiful, but
that was reminiscent of American Honey to me.
Right, I agree. So what would you give this movie?
I would give it 3.5.
I agree. I would give this 3.5 stars. Really loved it.
I think it drags a little.
It drags. The pacing is a bit of a problem, but it's still Andrea Arnold, so
yeah, it's great.
Love it.
She's gonna go pee in the corner.
Next, we have The Paperboy from 2012, directed by Lee Daniels. This is about a reporter coming to a Florida town to help his younger brother and a friend get a man they believe was framed for the murder of the sheriff out of jail. There's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on.
Which is a problem. It opens with a police interview after the fact with narration from Macy Gray.
Mm-hmm.
Very distinct voice.
Yes.
And it sort of shows a flashback
to the future.
To the future of the sheriff being murdered. The sheriff looks a lot like Orson Welles in Touch of Evil.
Yeah.
And so Macy Gray is the maid of Zac Efron and Matthew McConaughey's family.
Yes.
She's doing a lot.
She's doing a lot, but I'm sure she was directed to do a lot.
Yes. Well, yeah, Lee Daniels is very melodramatic and big, and all these performances, most of the performances are. Nicole Kidman, she's doing a lot.
She's the entertainment part of this movie.
Absolutely.
And she's the most fun to watch.
Yeah.
These special things called good vibrations. Right,
sorry,
baby?
man. Y'all can't park here.
See, she sort of understood what was going on.
Yes.
Whereas Zac Efron thought this was a really meaty role for him.
Yeah, I feel like Zac Efron thought this was like, oh, this is a breakout role for me.
Yeah.
But he just didn't camp it up enough.
Yeah.
I don't think he has it in him to camp it up.
No.
John Cusack, he's acting wild.
Yeah, he's doing a lot. He's the man they're trying to get out of prison.
Yes.
And he and Nicole Kidman are falling in love through letters.
Through letters, yes.
Has a thing for men who are in prison.
Yes. Which is interesting.
Yes.
But weird.
They have quite the scene in their when they go to visit him for the first time.
Yeah, there's like an interrogation scene or an interview scene where they have all the characters lined up talking to John Cusack, and they just start having sex without touching each other in this interview, and everyone is just watching
in front of other people.
And Matthew McConaughey is like turned on.
Yes, which we find out later why.
We find out why.
Another amazing scene. This shows Nicole Kidman's dedication to the craft.
Yeah.
Zac Efron gets stung by a lot of jellyfish.
He gets stung by a jellyfish.
He's not out there very far.
No, it's like all over his face.
And she has to pee on him because that's what you do. And Nicole Kidman actually peed on Zac Efron.
Come on!
Yeah. Oh, did she really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's interesting to know.
Yeah.
Very funny scene.
And she's like so sunburnt.
Yeah.
And she's got like this really like raggedy bleached hair.
She looks crazy. She looks like Lucinda Williams.
No, not too much on Lucinda. She looks like she's from Florida.
Yes.
Which I think is what the movie does the best. It feels like Florida.
It feels like Florida for sure. For sure.
In all the worst ways.
Yes. And I love the swamp setting.
Yeah.
I feel like we don't get that a lot out of like
this,
murder mystery type
movies.
This
was like real swamp.
And like sweaty and dirty.
Not like Where the Crawdads Sing. Like the swamp.
No, it shows like the nasty side of the swamp.
Yeah.
Which is what I want to see when we're going to the swamp.
Yeah, I also like in Florida when they have gators be like a threatening presence at all times.
Well, they're scary as fuck.
They're scary.
Even for people who live in Florida. There's like this subplot with Matthew McConaughey where he is a homosexual.
Yes.
And he kind of gets tied up and beaten in a hotel by 3 other homosexuals. And so after that happens, he's like strung out at his apartment or something, and Zac Efron, was it?
Yeah.
Came to his place to try to talk to him, and this man has dildos all over the walls.
Dildos, in the kitchen cabinet.
Dildos in every room.
He's got the dildo cupboard. He's gay. In case you didn't
He's
realize.
very gay.
That was a choice. There's also David Oyelowo, who is Matthew McConaughey's working partner.
Hmm.
But it's sort of teased that they sort of have a thing that it goes nowhere.
Oh, well, I thought that they didn't do enough with that character.
Yeah, because he's British, but then he's not British. Not a secret agent, but he was like, I don't know. He used Matthew McConaughey to get the story for himself.
Yes. That part of it was too quick and confusing.
And stupid. There's this whole journalism thing, because Zac Efron and Matthew McConaughey's father, they own the paper in the town. Their dad is worried that Matthew McConaughey coming in is going to expose the paper and framing Hilary Van Letter for the murder.
Yes.
So that's muddled. The dad's new wife is like super racist towards Macy Gray's character, which is really...
Anita?
Yeah. It's just like they have all these things going on and there's nothing being said. Ever. No,
the entire plot is muddled. Everything's, even like with the editing, there's times in this movie I don't know what's going on.
The editing was the most.
Yeah, like you don't know what's happening from scene to scene.
And it's just there's a lot of crossfading.
Yes.
And the camera work. It just like halfway through it started being like Glee, where they do the zooms.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere.
It's a lot.
The whole movie is a lot.
Which really kept me engaged.
That's true.
To be honest, I honestly don't dislike this movie. It was a fun watch for me.
It's entertaining.
It was a swing.
It was a big swing.
Big swing.
And I think I have not seen any other Lee Daniels.
I don't think I have.
But that seems to be not what I think.
No. So what would you give this movie?
I would give it 2.5.
Okay, I would give it 3 stars. Thought it was a pretty good time.
Alright. So, Fish Tank or The Paperboy?
Me personally, I'm gonna go off fun for this vote. You might be have a different vote in mind, but mine. I'm gonna vote for The Paperboy.
Okay, and I'm gonna override your vote and say The Fish Tank goes through.
And that's fine. Fish Tank can go through. But Paperboy, very fun, summer, everything.
Right. Yeah. Humid. But Fish Tank wins. Go watch Fish Tank.
And that's what you missed on Glee.
Next battle, we have Girl with Green Eyes versus Terror in a Texas Town. Girl with Green Eyes, this is from 1964 and it's directed by Desmond Davis. It stars Rita Tushingham playing the character Kate, which is a small town farm girl who moves to Dublin with her best friend Baba, and basically to lead a more exciting life. She meets a man while she is there, a man who is quite older than her, and she falls for him, and we follow their journey and relationship, and, well, we follow her mostly. But we follow her in the ups and downs of their relationship.
I adored this movie. I thought it was incredible.
I agree. I loved this movie.
Yeah. I don't even know where to start.
Me either.
Let's...
Everything about it is amazing.
Isn't it? Like, this is actually amazing.
Yes. I think we should start with Rita Tushingham.
I wrote a face for the movies.
And that says it all, honestly. It's a face... It's ingrained in your mind when you watch a movie of hers. Mm-hmm. Which, I will say, one of my favorite movies, this is a shout out, A Taste of Honey, and this has Rita Tushingham in it. Good ass watch. One of my favorite movies. So go watch that. Mm-hmm. And this movie.
Yep. This is the first I'd seen her in a film, as far as I'm aware.
I think so. Well, she was in Last Night in Soho.
That doesn't count.
No, because she was a small role. Yeah.
It's horrible. And her face, not only beautiful and striking, just expresses so much throughout the entire film. Mm-hmm. It is just impeccable performance.
She's such a good actress.
Yeah.
She can evoke a lot of emotion, and just from a look and a nuance, she's phenomenal. Mm-hmm.
And it's not even like this movie isn't like overloading with emotions. It's very sort of, it sits under the surface the whole time. And for me, that was much more powerful. specifically, what I also want to say, Peter Finch was amazing.
Peter Finch was really good.
And I thought that was just an expertly written character.
Yes, and this movie was written by a woman,
Mm-hmm.
which I love. You can really tell,
Mm-hmm.
especially with the subject matter at hand. I thought it was written perfectly.
So this core relationship is a younger girl and a much older man, which can steer you down the road of like he's manipulative and preying on her, and it's just horrible and it shouldn't happen. Which most of the time, yes, but there was just so much more nuance here on with both of their characters, and it was clear that this wasn't going to work for them, but that didn't completely negate the meaning behind the relationship, and that it's okay for her to feel lustful and want to be seen by this older man.
Yes.
It's sort of okay for him to feel that lust from someone else, and for them to just it not to work out and for them to move on.
So that's kind of the crux of the whole movie, because Kate is very sheltered and she's from a Catholic background, and so she learns a lot about herself and about her family and about just life in general from this relationship, good and bad, which is really interesting to see.
It also sort of doubles down that she's going from a small town to Dublin, which is a city.
Yes.
So she's sort of experiencing that. A really sort of smaller portion of the film was sort of her wanting to be alone, just in the sense of like she wants to go to the bookstore by herself and experience that all alone. Yeah. And she just appreciates sort of the moments by herself, which I quite enjoyed.
So the movie has this really like wistful and fresh feel to it, where the editing choices, some parts are like really just, you feel like butterflies, you feel like you're in a field, you know, just like that feeling is attached to a lot of it, and then there's other parts where it's like tense.
That you will never see this man again.
A lot of it, the score is just, and the score is used perfectly, in my opinion. It enhances the moments like amazingly. And like each segment of the score is like a different sound, but it all correlates so well in like the grand scheme of the film.
It's the telephone! Hello?
It was shot really well. There's some unconventional framing in moments, like men in bed. It's shot sort of in a way that I wouldn't expect.
Even the characters that aren't the main focus of the movie feel nuanced and real. Like her friend, Baba.
She was a ton of fun.
She was a lot of fun, and there's a lot of moments in this movie that were just fun, which added a lot of charm to everything. There was this one part where she was smoking a cigarette at the dinner table, and what was happening?
She wanted to leave the table.
Yeah, she wanted to leave the table, so we were feeling this emotion from her. And then the cigarette falls down her cleavage, and it's shot in the most, in the funniest way, because it like zooms in really, really quick. And it's just like, if you blink, like you missed it. But it was so funny, and I don't know. It was moments like that that really just, wow, like I'm really enjoying this watch.
Yeah, I loved it. Profound. It says a lot about relationships. Religion. Yeah, I liked that her religion was a part of her.
Well, usually religion for me is like a throwaway.
Right.
Like I don't really relate. I grew up in a religious background, but I don't really relate to people who are religious. But her religiousness in this movie felt sincere.
Yeah, it was clearly important to her, and there's a moment where he sort of disrespects that, and she's taken aback, and as the audience, we were also taken aback.
Yes.
And,
so it touched on that subject really nicely.
It also deals with sort of the themes around aging, and how as you age, you sort of lose your intense emotions, and he says to her that he wishes he was young so he could feel the intense emotions that she feels all the time, and I thought that was just
Yeah. Very beautiful. I mean, their dynamic itself is... I could watch them for like hours and just analyze the inner workings of both of them.
It also showed sort of the beauty and sort of a relationship just naturally coming to its end, which is, again, these are things that aren't really seen a lot. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or they're just not done this well and this subtly and moving. There are just so many quotes in this. I wrote down so many.
Yes.
Do you have a favorite?
Yeah, I have a favorite quote. It is, "Do I look like someone with a past?"
That was like the last line.
It was the last line, and it encapsulates a lot of what the film is about, and it was just lovely.
Mine was also at the end, and it's old men and young girls only work in the books.
Yes.
Which sort of ties together their relationship.
Yes.
I would give the movie 4.5 stars.
I would give the movie 4 stars.
Oh!
But I also really, really, really loved it, and it will go up on a rewatch.
Next up is Terror in a Texas Town. This is from 1958 and is directed by Joseph H. Lewis. This is about a Swedish whaler who comes into a Texas town to visit his father, who he finds out has been killed, and he wants revenge on who killed his father. Nice, simple Western tale.
Yes.
I was very entertained by this.
Yes, I like this movie. I like this lead actor.
Yes, he had a really good cadence to the way he talked. That was very entertaining and charming.
And something that sets it apart from other Westerns. When I think about this one, I'm going to be thinking about him.
Yeah.
And just the way he delivered lines and all of that. And he's also in Johnny Guitar.
Oh.
Which is also one of my favorite Westerns. And him in that is great.
It is very straightforward, but that's what I enjoy in a Western.
Yeah, I usually like just a little more nuance and a different take on Westerns, but for this one, it was what I wanted out of it. So I wasn't mad.
Yeah, it is a little thin in its writing and its overall characterization, but I think it does a good job in setting up hero and villain.
Yes.
The villain was very brutal and intimidating.
Yeah.
Even though he was very short.
He's very short, but his costuming was really nice, and I don't know, he just looks nasty. He looks like a nasty, scummy man, and the actor portraying him did a really good job.
It strikes a good balance of just entertainment, and then also has this mix of commentary about just sort of colonization and oil.
Yeah.
Because the villain is working for a man in the oil industry.
Yeah.
So nothing groundbreaking there, but just a solid mix of the two.
Oh, I do like the villain's mistress. I thought her face was really noticeable in each scene. She's not in a lot of things. I haven't seen her in a lot. But I thought she was nice, and I like the way that she ties in to the story as a whole. I wish she would have had a little bit more of something to do, but I like the way she gets intertwined into things.
Yeah. It does a thing where it starts with the end of the movie, and then you flash back to the future, you see everything. And then when it started, though, he kept calling him Hanson, which is his name, but it sounded like he was saying handsome.
Well, the YouTube subtitle said handsome.
Handsome.
So it seemed like he was like queer-coded or something.
Like, whoa, what are we getting into?
Right. But no, that wasn't the case.
I mean, it was just a straightforward, good, solid Western.
Yeah, not much to digest or discuss, but it was an entertaining watch for sure. Yeah, what would you give it?
I would give it 3.5.
Yeah, I would give it 3.5 as well. Okay, so Girl with Green Eyes or Terror in a Texas Town?
You know, Terror in a Texas Town was cute, but
It was cute.
Girl with Green Eyes is gonna take it.
Girl with Green Eyes, I love Girl with Green Eyes.
Yeah.
So, sorry,
It wins.
it wins.
Next up is Blonde Venus versus Miami Vice.
First, Blonde Venus. This is directed by Josef von Sternberg, and it's from 1932. It follows Marlene Dietrich playing a character named Helen, and she's married to a character named Ned, and Ned gets radium poisoning. And so they don't have a lot of money, and so Marlena goes back to work as an actress or a stage performer.
Showgirl.
Showgirl.
something like that.
Yep, and she meets up with a man played by Cary Grant who is a rich politician, and he gives her lots of money for doing various things for him. So this movie starts off with gorgeous black and white. It has this group of men coming and spying on these actresses that are in a lake or something like that. And that's where we meet Marlena and Ned. And that's how they met at the beginning of the film. That introduction plays a part into the storytelling aspect of the movie.
And they have a son,
Yes.
which is very important.
And they have a son.
And so when Ned has to leave the country to get taken care of,
Yes.
his poisoning taken care of, and she takes care of the son while he's away.
Yes. And she basically falls in love with Cary Grant.
Yeah.
And Ned comes back, finds that out, and then they separate, and it goes through a whole bunch of other things.
And he tries to take her son away.
Yes, he
from
tries
her.
to take her son.
Which is the main conflict of the story.
Yes.
Him, whatever, but the son, no.
Yes.
It goes without saying the strongest aspect of this is Marlene Dietrich.
Yes.
This is an incredible performance.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this was really fascinating in terms of, like, she is a character who leaves her husband while he's sick.
Yep.
Out of the country while she's taking care of her son. Cheats on him, leaves him, but she's not just immediately the villain and immediately just a horrible person.
Yeah.
Especially like in the 1930s, I don't know. I just thought it was just a very progressive look on a mother who is flawed, but not like disrespected.
Yes.
At any point.
Yes.
And that's sort of the case for all the characters. Cary Grant's not a bad guy.
No.
Ned isn't a bad guy, even when he gets mad and wants to take her son away. I mean, that's sort of a bad thing to do, but you understand, you know, there's some nuance.
There's nuance, and it's refreshing to see that
Mm-hmm.
in a movie from 1932.
Yeah, which I guess looking back is not as surprising. I guess if it was like the 40s and 50s, it would be more shocking.
True.
True. It's pre-code. And just, I mean, we were talking about a face for the movies with Rita Tushingham. I mean, that goes without saying it. Marlene Dietrich.
Yes.
Maybe has the face for the movies.
Yeah, the face, the voice,
The
I might
voice,
add.
Simply because I'm the laziest gal in town.
This one has the iconic sort of white tux with the hat.
Yes.
Look, which was a gag.
It was really cool.
And she has the tennis wig.
Yeah, she has this big opening number as the blonde Venus, her first night back, and it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
She's in this really realistic gorilla suit.
Yeah.
That I thought we thought it was a gorilla for a second. Like
yeah, because in the beginning I was like, oh, haha, she's in a gorilla. And I was like, wait, is that a real gorilla?
Right, because its mouth moved a little bit and it looked a little fleshy.
Yeah.
But
it looks better than fucking
King Kong Skull.
Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Oh, true. But yeah, she comes out in this suit and then she strips off a glove, takes off the hat, and she's in this tennis wig.
Yeah.
And then she just puts on a performance. It's a fun performance.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I think any performance that Marlena does is just enigmatic and entertaining and just fun.
Magnetic. Cary Grant was also very good. He's got his 1930s cake makeup on.
Yeah, he's always got like a little bit of eyeliner going, like happening.
That's
and
thick.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh.
Yeah, he looks completely different from this era to his next. He
Yeah.
looks completely different.
It's the makeup.
It's crazy to see him like that.
Also, it has a nice slight commentary on show business that is still prevalent today.
Yeah.
Like in the beginning, she just has to show her legs in order
Yeah.
to get her position.
Amongst all these chauvinistic males
Right.
that think they own these women that they employ. Yeah.
And just like something that was being noticed to them and still now.
Yes.
It's interesting to
Yes.
see 100 years ago versus now how it's still there. There's also some conversation about sort of the struggles of having to exploit your talents in order to survive.
Yes.
And it's like you can't just be talented and rejoice in that. Like you have to use that to make money in order to make money and to live. And
Yeah.
there's just like a slight sadness in the realization in that, which I thought was a good observation.
Yeah, because in all the hard times she comes by, she always falls back to that.
Mm-hmm.
There's this one scene where she's like beaten down and she's completely wasted, drunk,
Mhm.
and she's, I guess it's like a homeless shelter or something.
Yeah, it's like a shelter.
And so she's talking to all these people and walking through a group of people, and she has some great like one-liners. It's one of the better scenes in
Yeah,
this
it's
movie.
a great scene.
$1,500. It represents my life work. Had I had time to exploit it properly, I could have made a fortune.
It's just interesting that while she's at her worst, she goes straight back to her best.
Mhm.
And like the next scene.
Yeah.
Because she uses these talents to fall back on.
Yeah.
Because she has nothing else. Her family was taken away. Her kid was taken away. Cary Grant's not there anymore. Yeah, so it was really interesting.
Yeah, just a great story about redemption, pretty much.
Yeah.
And love. And Cary Grant's character was really interesting in the end, and sort of he encourages her to go back to see her husband and to reconnect with him and their son. A great nuanced character from Cary Grant, which might also occur later.
In a litter battle. Yeah.
So love Cary, love Marlena, love Sternberg. Great.
Great, all around great.
Mm-hmm.
What would you give it?
I would give it 3.5.
I would give it 3.5 as well.
Then we have Miami Vice from 2006, directed by Michael Mann. This stars Colin Farrell and Jamie Foxx as detectives who get recruited by the FBI to go undercover in place of their agents who got outed as being undercover in the Aryan Brotherhood. I think.
Something along those lines.
Something like that.
Yes.
And then their individual personal relationships get involved as well.
Yes.
I think.
What do you think? Don't quote us on that.
Don't quote us on that. What I do know is that Colin had his luscious hair out.
I loved it.
Yeah, he had his mustache.
It looked good as
He
hell.
was looking right.
He was. I liked his shirts that he wore. It would be shirts that I would wear. Yeah, Colin was a good part of this. What else did I like about this? I liked... Let's just start with the good. Let's start with the good, and then we'll get to the bad.
Yeah.
I liked the style of this movie.
Yes.
I love the blue.
Uh-huh.
Like, love the blue.
The Joni Mitchell blue?
Yes. I liked how natural some of the camera movements felt. There's a little bit of shaky cam sometimes, but the shaky cam wasn't like annoying shaky cam. It felt like natural.
Yeah. That's also what I think is the best part of it. It has a stylistic point of view, while not always perfectly executed.
No.
It's there.
It's there. All the nighttime shots of Miami and the city line, is gorgeous. All the thunder in the background and the clouds.
Stay with clouds in my coffee, clouds in my coffee, yeah.
Give this a nice feel to it. It feels humid and ominous.
Another Florida movie that feels like Florida.
Yes.
I liked the first act.
Yeah.
Before it gets too muddled and hard to follow.
Yes, there's problems that arise. The beginning, I was interested to see where it went. As it kept going along, I kept getting more confused. And why are these choices being made?
Yeah. There's some good like shootouts that it's like whoa.
Oh
like,
yeah.
The guns feel heavy and
the one in the car.
Oh yeah, his arm gets blown off.
I was shocked.
I was not expecting that.
So the practical, it looked really practical. So those effects looked amazing. But those moments were thin compared to the overall movie as a whole.
I think the biggest issue of this film is we have these two lead characters who, they're a detective duo and we don't really spend a lot of time with them together. So we get time with Jamie Foxx and Naomi Harris, they're a couple, sort of. And then Colin Farrell and Gong Li, who is in a relationship with the main villain.
Yes.
And so also forms a relationship with Colin Farrell. That was sort of not compelling at all.
No, a lot of this isn't compelling, and Colin Farrell and Jamie Foxx, they barely speak to each other. They barely look at each other.
Yeah, it just creates this weird balance issue.
Where it's like there's two sides of this movie. One where Jamie Foxx is being sidelined, and another where Colin Farrell is with the villain.
Yeah. I feel like I don't remember Jamie Foxx doing really anything in this.
No,
like
he has a sex scene with his wife.
We see his butt.
Barely.
Yeah.
Nice butt, but
I don't know, it was just sort of dry and kind of boring.
It was really dry, it was really boring. There was a lot of dialogue that was crunchy as hell. They say the term "the load" at least 50 times.
Transport a load for year one of this group. So can we run a load for year one of this group?
Running in a Euro load.
Did you pick up a load?
Once we pick up the load.
Cause how you drop loads, I don't like.
This load does not go to the Miami group.
Let me take load number 2.
Somebody tried to rip off the load.
They tried to jack your load.
That's my load. I see a load.
You don't like us finding your load. We guarantee loads.
Well, what happened to the first load?
I think load number 2 is going to our guys. We want to go beyond load number 2. Run in load number 2. Break down the load for different buyers.
I will now tell you when and how this load will get dropped.
30% off the load.
We don't have our load. The Americans have our load. I will recover the load.
The use of the word load was humorous.
Very humorous, and it happens probably every 5 minutes of the movie.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Good use of mojitos.
Yes, we love a good mojito. Yeah.
They love a good mojito.
Yeah.
They looked good.
They looked
Hours
really good.
101.
Right?
There was a girl who looked like Sheryl Crow / Shakira.
Yeah, she was like a detective.
Oh, Justin Theroux was there.
Oh,
he was just like peeking around the corner. And I was like, oh, so he's definitely like a double agent.
Yeah.
That guy.
Well, he's more at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then we forget about him for about 45 minutes. And then
does he say anything?
No. And then we see him in the background of one scene. We're like, oh my god, there he is.
Yeah.
But he's so pointless. Like, why is he there? Who are these people?
Like
we have to mention the awful soundtrack this movie has.
Yeah, because very early on, like after the opening scene where they're on their boats.
Yes.
It just like hard cuts to Linkin Park Needle Drop in a strip club. Yeah,
and it continues that formula throughout the entire movie.
I mean, I guess it's fitting, like 2006, that sort of...
No, I don't think it's fitting for those songs to be in a movie.
Well, unless it's Transformers.
Well, yes, okay, yeah.
I don't know, I feel like 2000's Miami, they probably were listening to Linkin Park in the strip club. Probably,
but the problem is that Michael Mann took too much leadway with that and kept it going throughout shootouts. Why were these songs playing during shootouts?
The songs in the shootouts were horrible. Yeah.
Yeah, so the Lincoln Park one, okay, I can let that slide. But the rest, what?
During the shootouts, it was bad.
Yeah.
Because the best scene is when they're in this trailer park and it's silent.
Yes.
And that's when it works.
And it has this huge explosion that scared the fuck out of me. I jumped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, a little disappointing.
It was disappointing. I usually enjoy Michael Mann. I've seen Heat, Manhunter, and another one. Oh, and Black Hat, which I don't remember if I like that one. But I usually enjoy his movies, so it was disappointing that this was just schlock.
No, I wouldn't say schlock, but...
It was nearing the edge of schlock.
Yeah. It just didn't work for me.
No.
I would give it 2.5.
Yeah, I agree. I would give it 2.5.
Miami Vice or Blonde Venus?
This one's a little easy. I'm going to go with Blonde Venus.
Yes.
For Marlena and Cary Grant and Sternberg and all of that. Yeah. Great combination.
I would also go with Blonde Venus.
Yeah, you can't go wrong.
No! It gets thrown away.
For the next battle, we have The Furies versus Hot Saturday. First up, The Furies. This is from 1950 and it's directed by Anthony Mann. Stars Barbara Stanwyck playing a character named Vance Jeffords. She has a father named T.C. Jeffords who owns a ranch called The Furies, which is a huge, vast cattle ranch. So it follows these two characters fighting over control over the Furies, and other characters come along, and things of that nature.
Barbara Stanwyck. Great. Love.
Yes, she's a great part of this movie.
She's the best part.
And she's like 47.
Yeah, she looks great.
In this movie, and she looks so good.
She looked 2.
Literally. Wow. But her acting is spot on. I love everything that she does with her face. Her line delivery is great. I love the costuming. The costuming is done by Edith Head for this, right?
Yep.
Yeah, the costuming is done by Edith Head, which I love when her name appears on a title card.
Of course.
Because then you know there's going to be a lot of beautiful costumings and costumings that reflect the characters and the storyline. And so there was a lot of beautiful things happening on screen with the beautiful scenery and with the beautiful costuming.
And Barbara, she knows how to ride a horse.
Yes, she does.
Like, that is a good-ass horseback rider.
True.
There are moments in the movie where she has just a really raw reaction, and that's where I think she really shines the most.
Yes. Especially when she's hitting her whip on her horse and running away. No.
That's not what I was referring to, but yes.
Oh, okay.
Because it's not really a big reaction. But.
That happens after her reaction.
Yes.
So it is a reaction. Anyways.
It's an action after the reaction.
Okay.
Overall, I think I would have liked a little more nuance to her character and all of the characters.
I agree. I've seen another movie by Anthony Mann called The Naked Spur. There's something about his movies that are too simple for me. They don't dive into their characters or the subject matter. They have everything that it needs to be for a good movie. It just doesn't go deep enough for me.
Yeah.
And that's my problem with the two movies that I've seen of his.
Yeah. I mean, it has just like these really great sort of moments that transcend beyond just sort of surface level.
Yes.
But then it sort of goes back down and gets a little sluggish.
Yeah, I agree.
I think the main part of that is this sort of romance, not romance she has with this other character. That I just found really not interesting. And
I agree. At some points it was even not believable.
Yeah.
I didn't fully understand Barbara's character. Why she was so attached to this one man played by or named Rip. And why she was acting some ways toward her father. Something was a little off about it.
Yeah, I just wish that Rip character was not as prevalent, and it was more of a focus on this father and daughter sort of fighting for control.
Yes, because that's the most interesting aspect of the movie.
Because the ranch has what they call squatters, who everyone sort of votes that they want to kick out. But Barbara has a connection with a family, so she's sort of fighting for them to be able to stay.
Yes.
I think that is where it becomes really interesting and fascinating. But it just, I don't know, it didn't go...
Well, her character flip-flops on that.
There's like a great battle scene, sort of with these boulders and them.
Oh yeah, that's one of my favorite scenes of the movie. It was very cool.
And then
huge boulders.
There's this confrontation with her husband's new wife involving scissors, which was very shocking, and I was just blown away by that.
Okay, yeah, that was really good.
So yeah, it just needed I think it just needed more focus on that, on the ranch stuff itself, and not this sort of, I don't even know if I would call it a romance, but...
No, it was like a partnership.
Yeah, it just sort of derailed what I wanted.
Yeah, and I don't feel like she needed this other man to get what she wanted.
Yeah.
I feel like her character was very strong-willed and capable of doing this on her own. This man was annoying.
Yeah. I think overall it had some interesting things to say about, it's sort of basic, but love and hate. She sort of gets consumed by her hatred for her father at a certain point.
Yeah.
And there's some interesting stuff going on there.
I think what this movie does good is it has its punchy scenes and iconic moments that kind of ingrain itself into your brain. But the inner workings and the middle parts of those don't always... They're not tight enough. Yeah.
And her dad was played by the doctor from And Then There Were None.
How do you do, sir? I'm Dr. Armstrong.
Yeah, and he's really enigmatic and crazy, and he's fun to watch. I wish they would have just given him a little more.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish he had some more depth to him.
Meat and depth, yeah.
Because he's just sort of kooky and drunk all the time.
Yeah.
A lot of times you're like, what did you say?
Yeah, there was a couple times where I don't even know what...
The subtitles were wrong, so it was just like...
The beans is on, the coffee's boiling. For them that don't like beans, 150 various other victuals, so dig to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're just rambling. Drunk rambling. So yeah, I think it's good. But the great moments made me want it to be a little better.
Yes, I agree.
I would give it 3 stars.
I would give it 3.5. I think it's... I like Westerns. Even if it's kind of a schlocky, bad one. Not that this one is. I'm going to like it. Yeah, I just needed a little bit more.
But you're not. You're old and you're getting foolish and you've made a mistake.
You're finished! You're washed up! You're old! You're nothing!
And now we have Hot Saturday from 1932, directed by William A. Seiter. This stars Nancy Carroll as a bank clerk who, after being left by some lame guy, she spends a night with Cary Grant, who's sort of this womanizer around town, and rumors spread that diminish her reputation. And she has an old friend from her past come, which
spices things up.
So I wasn't sure what to expect from this, because it's sort of an underseen pre-code.
Yeah.
The ratings weren't great, and I loved this.
Yeah, I was particularly just surprised by how good it was, actually, and about some of the things that we saw, and just how fast it flew by. I mean, I wanted the movie to continue.
Right. It was just fully delightful from beginning to end.
Yes.
Pre-codes, they just have this magic to them, you know.
They feel raw and real to the times.
They keep it real. I loved Nancy Carroll's performance in this. Her line reading is just spot on, and she's beautiful.
I love her face.
And then another face for the movies.
Yeah.
And Cary Grant.
He was pretty dang good in this.
Yeah, more charming as ever.
Charming, charming as ever.
He's still got the caked on makeup, but it's not as harsh.
No. He looks good. He's we first see him in this like white suit, I believe, and he looks great. But then it changes to that weird.
Yeah, there's their main interaction over their night is like he's sort of dressed like a vampire and she looks like a gnome.
Oh yeah.
So.
Well, I was talking about the pants.
Oh yeah, he's got goofy pants. This is also important because it is the first time we see Cary and Randolph Scott in a movie together.
Yes.
And the tension was there. Sorry to say it.
The tension was there. That part of it added a layer to the film that was just interesting to see and behold.
It wasn't quite as obvious and overwhelming as like My Favorite Wife, where Cary Grant just has like a jaw-dropping moment watching him dive into a pool. But you know, they're looking at each other. They're looking each other up and down. And just like the story itself, just about like it's the small town, and this woman dares to spend a night talking at a man's house and getting home late, and she gets fired. Her reputation is diminished.
It spreads throughout the whole town, and it becomes this malicious lie about her that.
And her own mom turns on her.
Yeah, her own mom turns on her, and it's just interesting.
And then I really just liked how she just. It took a little bit, but she just embraced it, and by the end, and it's sort of like a pre-code Easy A.
Yeah. No, I see that. Yeah, and I liked Randolph Scott in this a lot. I liked how his character was flawed.
Well, he's introduced as sort of like this flawless, you know, coming to steal her heart away.
Geologist who's going off and finding gems and stones.
He's going to find rock specimens.
Yes.
Get some rock specimens.
But yeah, it was nice that his character wasn't the one you would root for.
Cary sort of he's like rich, Willow Springs. He owns like a lake house thing.
Yeah, in modern movies, Cary Grant would be the bad one because he's rich, because he would just be the bad one. Yeah. The way he's set up, he would be, and it was nice that it was not that.
Yeah, so just like a tale of subverting expectations, not believing everything you hear, pretty straightforward stuff, but again, just like a 1930s take on it where it's just, it feels honest and not, you know, modern annoyingness.
And it's so quick and snappy, and
and it flashed super funny.
Very funny. It flashed by so quickly. Like, we could watch it again right now.
It has like these little quirks, like I said, like about Willow Springs, just like the town itself. It really builds it out. She has like these coworkers who are goofy. And like the sequence with the old ladies spreading the rumor, super funny.
Super funny.
I mean, just full of personality.
Yeah.
And just an amazing surprise. Oh, even her sister is super funny. She has like 2 scenes.
Oh yeah.
To Bill?
Yes, dear.
Oh, gee.
Annie?
Good. It's a good ass watch.
It's a good ass watch.
Oh, and there's scenes where you don't see this in a lot of older movies where she's undressing.
Yeah.
She's taking off her clothes. She's in her night slip. There's one scene with Randolph.
You see her back?
Yes. There's one scene with Randolph Scott where he finds her just laid out in the storm, in the mud. And so he has to bring her inside, and it kind of cuts away. And then we realize that he's taken off her clothes and she's completely naked.
Yeah, looking back at that now, he's not such a good guy. Maybe his intentions weren't so interesting.
Yeah, maybe.
There's layers here.
There is layers. But that was just interesting to see because
it's the pre-code.
It's the pre-code. I mean, I haven't watched that many pre-codes to be honest. So.
But now I just want to watch a ton.
Yeah, that was like fresh.
Yeah, 70 minutes.
Like zippy, like wow.
And also, like, as entertaining and fun it is, Nancy Carroll also has these moments where she's like very upset about what's happening. And she sells that, and you feel bad for her. Just like it does everything right.
Yeah, I agree.
Blown away.
Like just wow.
Like movies.
Oh, they're so good.
What would you give it?
I would give it 4 stars.
Me too. 4 stars.
I really loved it. I think it's underrated. I don't understand the ratings. So if you haven't seen the movie, go watch the movie and rate it highly.
Yeah, your homework for this weekend is to go and see this movie. And it's free on YouTube in our little playlist.
Oh, we made a playlist. Free movies on YouTube. Go check it out.
So, Hot Saturday or The Furies?
Hot Saturday.
Hot Saturday's winning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, The Fury's good. Hot Saturday. But
yeah, cute next to gorgeous.
True. Nancy Carroll, you found yourself a new Stan.
Stan West.
Yeah.
You still afraid of girls?
No. I'm not very used to them. Never see any from one month to another.
Oh, and couldn't figure them out if you did.
Well, anyway, I...
Now we have to put the last 4 movies of this round up against each other again. So first up, we have Girl with Green Eyes versus Fish Tank.
Mm-hmm.
I know what I'm choosing. I probably know what you're choosing.
Yes. Girl with Green Eyes.
Girl with Green Eyes. Yeah. Fish Tank is an amazing movie.
Yeah.
Girl with Green Eyes just edged it out.
Yeah. Girl with Green Eyes was just, I had that feeling.
It's one of those that just like, oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sorry, Fish Tank. Girl with Green Eyes is moving forward.
Mm-hmm. And then we have Blonde Venus versus Hot Saturday. Battle of the Cary Grants.
Oh, wow. Which, both of these movies are amazing.
Yeah. I think I'm going with Hot Saturday just based on, I don't know. It gave me this rush of energy that I wasn't expecting. It was very surprising.
I agree.
And just fully enjoyable.
Yeah, I agree. I would choose Hot Saturday as well.
And it has more of that summer feel because at the lake.
Yes, I was going to say that. It's 100% summer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's at the lake. It's hot.
Mm-hmm. It's Saturday. And it's just a cute-ass movie.
Everyone's getting drunk. It's good as hell.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Hot Saturday, you're going through. That means Blonde Venus. I'm sorry, but you've been eliminated.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now we have Girl with Green Eyes versus Hot Saturday.
So you chose Girl with Green Eyes. That was your pick. And then mine
yes.
I chose Hot Saturday. Okay.
Yes. This is gonna be really, really tough.
Might need to sit on it a little bit.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to sit on it.
So that was round 3 of the Summer Movie Smackdown. Make sure you watch round 4, our final round, where we will talk about the final 8 movies, and then a winner will be announced shortly after. So
go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah.
Let us know which movie you want to be in the top 4 of the Summer Movie Smackdown. Mm-hmm. Is it going to be Girl with Green Eyes? Or is it going to be Hot Saturday? Let us know. And please subscribe. Please share. We love you. You all are everything.
Bye.
Bye.